Is something official about to happen for Babylon 5? Are we about to get the big announcement? Welcome to Sidetrack, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So, J. Michael Straczynski, or JMS, because that's a lot easier to say, announced on Twitter, nearly a year ago now, that he had written a script for the Babylon 5 reboot, and it was ready to go. He was hoping to get that script filmed, and if it all went well, greenlit, and have the TV show actually on our screens by, well, roughly now. But it just didn't happen. The CW didn't push forward in making the script. Now, there are a lot of reasons why that happened. For one, it was about the time that the CW went up for sale, and Warner Brothers decided to take a big step back away from that network. Also, Warner Brothers is going through a big restructure itself. It is merging with Discovery Inc., creating Warner Brothers Discovery. So that has caused a lot of issues with them themselves. It's one of the big reasons why the Batgirl movie didn't get made, and lots of other Warner Brother projects have been put on the back burner. All of these things take a lot of effort from a business, and it's quite difficult to carry on with big, major creative projects when all of that turmoil is going on. But all of that turmoil is coming to an end. They are getting themselves organized, and big projects are about to be announced. There is a new CEO in charge of Warner Brothers Inc., and they own HBO Max. The CW has a new owner, and they're coming in as well. But they have been announcing a lot of quite interesting things, including a big change in direction for the CW, including a move away from lots of the sci-fi and sort of superhero TV shows that we've been used to from that network. So, what does that mean for Babylon 5? And why do I think there's a big announcement about to happen? Well, JMS has been on Twitter, but before I tell you about that, let me tell you what I've been told about Babylon 5 quite a few times over the last 6 months. For one, I was told even before it was announced that CW weren't moving forward to Babylon 5, and I did tell you guys as well, that Babylon 5 was never actually going to make it to the CW, that Warner Brothers were almost certainly going to switch it to HBO Max. Oh, by the way, if you do like the content, please consider hitting the join button and becoming a fully fledged side tracker. You can also go to side-track.com and pick marvelous merchandise. All of these little things really help the channel. Also, if you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and share the video wherever the hell you want. Now, I was actually told that it might end up on CW eventually, but that primarily it would end up on HBO Max because that's Warner Brothers' primary streaming service. It's where they make their big money. And then it would follow up on the CW at a slightly later date. Now, what I'm told at the moment is that might still be the plan, but it very much depends on the CW's new owners, whether they're willing to pay for it. But what I'm being told is HBO Max is 100% behind JMS creating Babylon 5. And if it gets made, which we're going to talk about that in a second as well, it will end up on HBO Max first. So, first of all, I've got to tell you that the CW don't actually own the production rights or anything like that of Babylon 5. It is and always was Warner Brothers, in cooperation with the JMS's own production company. So the CW don't actually have any rights to produce Babylon 5, but there is, what I'm being told, some contractual issues because they did initially produce JMS to write the script. So they technically own potentially the pilot that JMS has written. So that's one problem, but not a major one, particularly if the CW don't actually want to move forwards with that type of genre of material and that type of TV. But also, the CW is still at least partly owned by Warner Brothers. I think they're dropping down to 10% of the ownership, and they're still going to be producing material and content for the CW. So that's not a relationship the new owners of the CW really want to mess around with too much. They're not going to rock the boat that much and say, well, you can't have Babylon 5 if Warner Brothers decide they want it. So I think there's some minor issues there that are being resolved at the moment, but they're not major at all. The other thing is, Warner Brothers love shows like Babylon 5. They want shows like that on HBO Max because that's the sort of show that just lives on streaming services. On the big networks, it was always about viewing figures and selling advert time. So it was advertisers wanting to put their adverts on the big shows. And when they auction off that advertisement time, the more views a show is getting, the more people that are watching, the more the network could charge the advertisers for that space. Nowadays, it doesn't work like that. All they really care about is subscribers. And a show like Babylon 5 will draw in a very cult following of subscribers. It might not be tens of millions, but it will be enough to warrant the TV show. And that is what HBO Max loves. But also, there's another thing about a show like Babylon 5. People don't just watch it once, they will watch it repeatedly. This is one of those things with big sci-fi shows, which is why the streaming services, it's why Disney loves shows like The Mandalorian and Marvel, is because people watch them over and over and over again because we're obsessive nerds. So HBO Max, which actually has the original Babylon 5 series now, 100% wants the new Babylon 5 reboot. But there has been some movement. JMS has been on Twitter. One day ago, he wrote the message, "Something is moving." Now, a bit cryptic, but he likes his cryptic messages. For me, I think he is perhaps hinting that there has been a breakthrough with the Babylon 5 reboot. Again, if what I'm being told is correct, it's that actually the movement is that HBO Max is going to be the new home and not the CW. But then a couple of hours after that, he wrote another message. "It's never been my way to ask B5 fans and followers for a solid on behalf of the show, because I feel it's my role and the role of the show to be of service to you, not the other way around. But tomorrow, for the first time in 22 years, I will ask." Now, what is JMS going to be asking? I think there's a couple of possibilities, but we're going to find out really soon, actually in the next couple of hours potentially, what exactly it is he wants us to do. But he might be asking us to do a Twitter storm, maybe something like that, to try to build up a bit of momentum behind the show to try and get that final green light. So this dropped while editing. It's a Twitter storm, folks. Now, obviously, JMS is still here pushing for the CW, but notice that he mentions how important the Warner Brothers decision is. So, let's follow the hashtag. Let's get twitting and let's get Babylon 5 made. But please, go over onto his Twitter feed, have a look. When he asks the question, answer. Because this is a show, I always thought it was like, it used to be called the poor man's Star Trek Babylon 5, but I always thought that was really unfair because I actually thought it was far more creative in lots of ways than Star Trek ever was. Most definitely more creative than any of the new Trek. It deserves it, and you've got to realize as well, it's been 25 years since Babylon 5 was off our screens. 25 years, that's a quarter of a century. And people still watch this show, and people are still massive followers of this show. That just shows you really how great this TV series was and how creative it was. So for me, whatever JMS wants, I'm there. My sword is his. I will go out there on the battlefield for him and scream as loud as I can, "Bring back Babylon 5. So, guys, please get over to his Twitter, but also get into the comments here. Like and share the video. Let's get the signal out there that we want Babylon 5 back and we want it now. Now, if that means it's got to go into HBO Max, that's a problem because that's behind a paywall. But hopefully, if it's popular enough, it will end up on the CW just afterwards. Now, don't get me wrong, the CW is a crap network, but HBO Max is actually a reasonably good network. They do tend to make quite brave TV shows. So, hey, let's get it out there and let's see what happens. And let's just hope that we all get to love the final result. So, if you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It really helps us out. Also, if you enjoy the content, please hit the join button because that really supports the channel. As always, stay safe. I'll see you next time.